Residents' rights and abuse. There was a Nursing Home Reform Act in 1987, and what it did was strengthen residents' rights. It was to end Medicaid discrimination because residents that paid with Medicaid reimbursed the nursing homes less than other patients, so nursing homes tried not to get Medicaid patients. It mandated aide training, so now our aides are certified, and this would help with the quality of life. Now we are surveyed to see the standard of our care by the state. You could break this down into 9 sections. The resident needs to be fully informed. They can participate in their care, make choices. They have privacy. They'll be treated with dignity and respect. Their possessions and such will be cared for. They have a right to be part of their transfer and discharge. They can complain, and they can have visits from people. The right to be fully informed. At admission, there'll be orally and written information given to them about their residents' rights in language they can understand, or if they are unable to comprehend, their care person. Our residents' rights poster is posted right outside the nursing office. It's there for residents, staff, and visitors to look at. Often state inspectors will ask, where are your residents' rights posted? And you can always say right outside the nurse's office. If you notice right around the corner here, this orange notebook contains the survey results from this last year. And we have those there every year. So if anyone wants to know where the survey results are, you can tell them. Resident needs to know upon admission that they can make complaints about us and how to do that. They can complain to one of the staff who would let our social person know, or they could complain directly to our ombudsman, and they should know they shouldn't have any fear of any kind of punishment because they reported us for some reason. The ombudsman will work with a resident to help issues in the nursing home. Also, it will help the nursing home work with issues with residents in the nursing home. Advanced directives. The facility has some written policies for that, and it would be applied to state law, and residents could formulate their own advanced directives. We let them know about the costs that are included in our daily rate and what would be extra. We give them information about Medicare and Medicaid. We let them know if they're eligible, and we let them know if for some reason the care was going to be terminated in writing. The residents can review our state review, where I told you where that's located. Again, they need to be notified of a potential loss of Medicaid. They need to be notified in advance of a room or roommate change. They have a right to refuse this. They have a right to plan in the care. And we try to meet preferences that they may have if they're reasonable. We have to notify the resident of any kind of condition change involving some sort of an injury, like if we gave them the wrong medication or something. Also, we would need to notify the MD, legal representative, and family of any kind of condition change. Every resident has equal access to care, regardless of how they pay. Very important to make sure our residents, if they're supposed to have glasses, have their glasses and their hearing aids. That's a law. Sometimes the resident may not want to wear their glasses or hearing aids. You need to let your supervisor know so that can be charted. With hearing aids, especially in the evening when you're putting residents to bed, make sure you check their pockets, because if the hearing aid goes through the laundry, it is ruined, and they cost $2,000 and up, and the nursing home will have to pay for them. They have a right to participate in their own care. They have a right to participate in care that is needed for them. If they need help wheeling, we must provide that. If they need speech therapy, we must provide that as well, among other things. We try to have continuity of care, continuity with the same staff assigned to them. They have a right to have a relationship with other health supplies. Like, for instance, we have a relationship with a drugstore in town, but if they don't want to work with that drugstore, they can work with a different drugstore. Again, they need to be informed of any changes in their medical condition. They can participate in planning treatment in their discharge. We have something called care conferences every 3 months, and they plan and care their care treatment there. Then they decide what to communicate with the MD, and their family representative can be there as well. Residents have a right to refuse things like medication, diet, general treatments. We need to let the resident know any complication because they've refused this, and we document it in their chart. They have a right to refuse chemical and physical restraints, any kind of chemical that can alter their thoughts, not for discipline, not for our convenience, putting them on a chemical restraint, and then any kind of restraint that would restrict movement, unless it was documented by the MD and we needed it for emergency. The same with medications that would alter thought. During their care conference, the resident will discuss if they are on any kind of medications that alter their thoughts with their family and decide whether they should be on those medications. They can administer their own medications if it's determined they can do so. They can review their medical records within 24 hours of request, and they can purchase photocopies in 2 working days. We need to be responsive to their questions and requests. They can refuse to participate in research. They have a right to make independent choices. They can decide what activities they want to participate in. They can schedule their health care. They can decide who they want to act with and when, and they need to feel that they have some control over their life. We accommodate their needs. If they want to take a shower in the evening, they can do that versus taking the shower at night. So we personalize the residents' care, and the facility structure, temperature, and cleanliness should suit them as best as possible. Married residents can share a room, and they can have private visits by a spouse. A resident can choose their own physician, and we need to supply their name and specialty, their business address and phone number, or even contact them for them. They must be informed about care and treatment. The MD must give information to the resident on their treatment and the alternatives, risk, prognosis, and diagnosis. A resident has the right to refuse to work. They can participate in other activities, social activities, religious and community activities in the town. They have a right to participate in resident and family groups. They have a right to organize and participate in something we call family council. And out there, they can actually complain about us and decide things they want to do to complain about us. And we need to still let them participate in that organization. We can't stop them from going to meet. We have to bring them to meet. They have a right to vote. We can't interfere with that or coerce them to vote a certain way or discriminate, not letting them vote. Right to privacy and confidentiality. They have a right to meet with a government representative, the ombudsman, family and relatives, a physician, their mail and telephone. They should have privacy for the telephone. We try to give them privacy if they don't have their own telephone in their room by putting them in the blue dining room. And mail, if they can't read it, we'll have it read to them and they can decide who reads it. When we give personal cares, we make sure that there's privacy. We make sure that the curtains are pulled or the doors closed. We must knock on the door and introduce ourselves before entering the room. Private information, medical records. We need to notify the residents if their medical records are requested. Just say they're going over to the clinic to have some sort of x-ray and they want their medical records. We must let the resident know that that was asked and they need to refuse or approve the release of those records. And also we have to let records go if the law requests them for financial information or some sort of personal affairs. Right to dignity and respect. Our residents will be treated exceptionally well. We put our attention on the client when we're working with them. Like if we're in the dining room, we don't talk with our other staff people. We pay attention to the resident and we talk to our residents. We give them admiration and we address them by their name. And we want to make sure that they are worthy of esteem and they feel honored. We don't discriminate against race, color, national origin, religion, genetics, financial status, sex, pregnancy, disabilities, sexual orientation, age, marital status, or military service. our residents will be free from abuse. I go into that more in the section that I talk about abuse. The staff treatment of residents. Incidents of abuse and neglect of unknown origin will be investigated and appropriate action will be taken, and it will immediately be reported to the DON and the administrator, and the resident again must know that they have a right to file complaints. We have, again, personalize the residents' care, let them choose their activities and schedule, and let them socialize how they would like, and we keep their possessions safe, and we keep them in a comfortable environment. This clip, 7 pounds, is showing a difference between how one person treats a resident and the other.
Inez, look at me, please. Inez, I'm speaking to you. I understand you refused to take your meds again this afternoon. Is that true? No. Let's try using your words this time, okay, Inez? I mean, this silent treatment isn't doing anybody any good. Inez, how can we help you if you... Okay, how about I come back tomorrow and see if you've changed your mind, okay? Madam.
Hello? My name is Ben. I totally understand if you don't want to speak to me either, but I'd really like to just have a moment of your time. Trying to figure out what kind of man Stuart Goodman is. It is within my power to drastically change his circumstances. But I don't want to give that man a gift that he doesn't deserve. I need you to tell me whether or not he is a good person. Drug he gives me makes me dizzy. I want a new one. That sounds very reasonable, Inez. What else? You can trust me. What else, Inez? Punishing you? How is he punishing you? How is he punishing you, Inez?
Ben? Hey, Ben, where are you going?
Where's the washroom?
To the right. Is there a problem?
Give her a bath. Right now.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Hey, Ben, I think you have the wrong impression here.
You want to stop by from time to time? Make sure you're showing these people some goddamn respect.
This is a misunderstanding, okay?
Don't treat people like that.
Let me explain, okay, Ben?
I'm not giving you an extension.
Ben!
I'm not giving you anything. I almost believed you, you son of a bitch. I almost believed.
Okay, I don't really condone the violence at the end, but my goal was to show you how the first person was condescending and angry, way he related to her. And then Ben, when he came in, he knocked, introduced himself, he sat down at her level, gave her time to answer questions. He treated her with much more respect than the other person. The residents have right to security of possessions. Their personal property. In our nursing home, the top drawer of the bureau is locked, and they keep some possessions in there. We also have a safe they can put items in. They have a right to file a complaint with any kind of agency for, again, abuse and neglect of them or their property. Again, we're going to go into that more in the abuse and neglect section of our talk. They can manage their personal affairs. If they have more than $50 in an account at the nursing home, they earn interest. They're able to look at their financial records every quarter, and they should be free from charge for any covered Medicaid or Medicare services. Rights during transfer and discharge. A resident has to remain in a facility, and they can refuse transfer or discharge unless it is necessary for the resident's welfare or because of their health has improved so much they can leave and they don't need to stay with us, or for safety and health of other residents in the facility, or they fail to pay, or the facility closes. Notice of transfer discharged, a 30-day notice. We need to let them know. We need to let them know why, the effective date and the location of where they would go and how they can appeal, and then the telephone number of the state's ombudsman. Right of bed hold and readmission. A resident has a right to transfer, say they're in the hospital, they can pay a certain amount to keep the bed in the facility, or if they go on vacation with family, they can pay a certain amount to hold the bed in the facility. And we arrange the transfer, hopefully in a stretch limo. They have a right to complain. They'll present their grievances, again, as I said earlier in the beginning of this talk, without any fear of being punished for complaining. Residents' complaint obviously will be free from restraint or interference, coercion, discrimination, or reprisal. And again, the ombudsman is who they would file with it ultimately. And we must work quickly to resolve grievances. And they have right to visits. They have a right to the immediate access of their personal physician, and they have a right to immediate access of the health department or the ombudsman. They can see any relatives or other people that they would like to, with reasonable restrictions. You know, coming in at 3 o'clock in the morning and having a family party, no. They can meet and talk with any organizations, social, legal, or otherwise. And one of the most important tasks you have here at Divine is to guard and promote your residents' rights.